And 1 second here. Transcripts. Speaking of AI, we'll have to talk about transcripts later. Okay, welcome everyone to this week's webinar where we have Reuven from Deeded to talk to us about mortgage broker tools or AI tools that mortgage brokers can use. Just from his experience and being in the industry, lots of people have asked him questions and he already has a presentation to share with us. I have known Deeded for a while, but I haven't brokered in a couple of years, so I've never personally used them. So Reuven and I have never even connected. And then somebody recommended he join us in our weekly webinars. So we got on the phone last week and we spoke for an hour and a half on the phone about technology and AI and automations and just the industry. And needless to say, I think that we're very aligned in our mindset about where the industry is, where it's going, and the tools that we can all use to just make our businesses better, take back our time, so much more. So if with that said, welcome Reuven. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll let you take the floor.
Absolutely, Sarah. Well, thanks so much for having me, first of all. And yeah, that was a really I think it was like on a Friday afternoon too as well. Good dinner came late, but yeah, no, it really great to see everyone on the call. Before I dive into, I guess, a presentation, because I wanted to, we've got a small enough group today that we can kind of make it into a dialogue, because I know a lot of presentations I find, and I'm not a fan of like having stuff being thrown at me. There's a lot of content out there. So feel free to jump in with any questions. And I realize, the one big thing is also everybody's business is very different. Everybody conducts their business differently. So some of the tools that we're going to look at may not necessarily be your cup of tea. They may not fit. But nonetheless, one thing I would challenge you on is turn on your imagination, because I'm here to show you sort of what's the art of the possible. A lot of these things exist today, but also a lot of new stuff is coming down the pipe, and ultimately, I'm not going to pontificate. There's a lot of talks about tech or AI, and they usually go like this: your job's going to get replaced. You're going to get, you're going to be out of business. And personally, I think that's total BS. Like that, we've had so many waves of technology that every time something comes, it's like, virtual reality is going to replace X, and AI is going to replace this, and the internet's going to put everyone else out of business. Well, here we are 20, 30 years after the internet was introduced, and hey, we're still around. Brokers are making great money. Realtors are making great money. There's still travel agents around despite all these massive platforms. But the one angle that I would challenge you to think about is there is an exponential change. AI is going to be a massive wave of not only technology, but different ways of doing things. However, technology in general, doesn't matter if it's like, a robot or something futuristic, has always been helping people do what they can already do better. Let me repeat that, right? Doing what you already do, but doing it better, maybe doing it cheaper, maybe doing it a little bit faster. So you can't do math on a napkin, basic math, not talking algebra or anything fancy. A calculator is not going to help you, right? And then, then we go to the next level of an Excel sheet. You're not going to know what you're doing. And then we get to AI and you're completely lost, right? So think about technology in that context, and don't be scared of it. Dive in, learn what you can, because ultimately a broker or an agent that has AI on their side is going to kick ASS on any other one that doesn't have it, because it really is a competitive advantage. I'm not saying that, just for the sake of saying it or scaring you. It's a fact. Why? Because a lot of things that we do in our business can be automated. I know, Sarah, you and I chatted about, some of that grunt work that still happens, like collecting documents manually and sifting through thousands of documents with your little highlighter and pen just to, be able to submit it, which happens electronically anyways. It's kind of bizarre, right? But some of those things can also give you back your time. And as we all know, if you think about, talk to, a lot of brokers every day, and everyone's got the same challenge. And it's not getting deals in the door, by the way. Like that will change. The biggest challenge is to scale your business, right? Because you're a business of usually one. You might have an assistant, you might have a couple folks on your team, but we all know that comes with challenges as well. You got to train people. You gotta get your processes and systems down. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But the biggest constraint that I hear from brokers every day, all day long, is, yeah, I get to happy I'm doing 10 deals a month, but I can't go beyond unless I start hiring more underwriters and more teams. And a lot of people don't want to do that. So why do I talk about that? Is because now you've got technology that can help you automate some of that stuff and really do a great job that you can rely on in doing some of the work that, again, is very, very manual in nature, not automated today. And the only way you can really, take on another deal or two a month or 10 is to hire people, which isn't always the best solution, right? So with that, I will share my screen. Any thoughts, any questions? I know we've got a small group. Love to hear from you in the chat or speak up. Do you agree with what I'm saying? Am I just...
I agree. I can't do math on a napkin, so I need the technology.
Yeah.
I definitely need the technology. And then I just hired my husband to do the math side, so it worked out as well.
That's always good. Yeah.
Then next I'll replace him with a bot and life will be perfect. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here and start with my PowerPoint. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So a little bit about me. I think Sarah, you've already done a great job introducing me. So Reuven Gorsht, co-founder of Deeded.ca. Deeded, essentially, what we saw an opportunity because closing, the legal closing side of a mortgage and a real estate transaction felt a lot like the 1990s. There's a massive lack and gap in communication. It's unpredictable. I'm sure, many of you that have been in the industry for a while have had clients calling and yelling and screaming at you because they haven't heard from their lawyer and things like that. So at Deeded, we've decided to take everything that we felt was wrong in the industry and design a closing experience that we wished we would have had when we bought our property. Like when I bought my last property, my lawyer called me 15, 20 minutes before I was expecting the call to get my keys and said, that's not going to happen today. And I had to literally scramble for a couple weeks to sort out through the mess that's created. So Deeded, essentially, what we do is we close your real estate and mortgage transactions, or if you're a broker, we close it for your clients. And what's special about us is ultimately one thing. We do that with a very, very seamless experience. We've got a team of lawyers that we work with, or network of lawyers that we work with. We've got a really amazing operations team of very experienced law clerks, document specialists, and others. And our commitment is to customer experience. That's why we get, on average, 2 to 3 5-star Google reviews per day. It's not per week, not per month, not per year, per day. And we consistently hit it out of the park. And when you ask about, I get asked a lot about experience and what does that mean? Ultimately, a great closing experience consists of a stream of transparency and communication. So your clients are stressed. They don't do real estate or mortgage transactions every day. They want to know what's going on. And isn't it a little bit bizarre that I think I just ordered some badminton birdies for $10 from Amazon, and I'm sitting here, I'm watching my phone, and it's going to be delivered this afternoon. Yay, amazing. So I can track my $10 purchase. I have no idea what's going on with closing my $1 million mortgage these days, right? Needless to say, when that Communication doesn't happen, anxiety grows. And what that means is the experience deteriorates. Now, as a broker, what that means for you is when your client doesn't have a great experience, no matter if it's your fault or it's a lawyer or somebody, some other party that you're using in the transaction, guess what? They're going to walk away. Your client's going to walk away from the transaction with some little thing ingrained right up here. Maybe it's up here in their mind, and say, I'm not going to recommend this person. I'm not going to recommend this broker. And that's all kind of rooted in, there's behavioral psychology studies that say, all people really remember about any experience is the last piece of it. Just like, if anybody's ever been to Disney, you don't remember the lineups for 6 hours in the heat. You don't remember that can of pop is $15 and all that stuff. You remember going to the Orlando airport when you're leaving, buying those Mickey ears, and everyone's all, smiley and giggly. Same thing for a mortgage transaction or a real estate transaction. People do remember their closing experience. When it doesn't go well, they associate that with you. So if you want to be the talk of the housewarming party, and if you want to turn the deal that you have on your plate right now to 5 more, we should be chatting, right? That's as far as I'll go with my little infomercial here, but just a shameless plug. We're really, really good at what we do. Not a fit for every broker. We are a great fit for brokers that really care about growing their business, but more specifically, growing their business through offering a really, really great experience that stands out in the industry. And so my background, I've built technology companies before, but my playbooks really come from working with a lot of the top brands in the world. I've listed some of them here: Apple, Under Armour, work with Amazon, great company called Zappos out of Vegas, Disney, etc. And what I've learned from all these companies over the years is how they've created amazing brands that are really, at their top of the game. I think, if you own an Apple product or ever dealt with Apple or walked into an Apple store, you would agree that it's a completely different paradigm than dealing with anything else. So a lot of those we're applying into our business at Deeded as well. I'll pause here.
Just to touch on that too, like all those big brands you mentioned below, like a lot of them, what they really do thrive on is experience, right? Like the experience the consumer has at the end of the day. Like you said, Amazon. I just literally told my husband yesterday, like, it's crazy. I hate shopping. So for me to not have to set foot in a store is ideal. And then I order something silly. I think I ordered my daughter barrettes, and they came in the mail the next day, right? So it's that experience that I had was great. But yeah, but anyways, I'll let you continue. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sarah. Can you guys still see my screen? Sorry, I just had a little pop-up come up. Am I still sharing?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. All right. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. So AI. So there's literally thousands of applications that are coming out every month. So by the time I finish this presentation, there'll probably be about 50 some odd new tools. So it's moving fast. Lots of great stuff, lots of noise right now, but it's something that's already hit us all, because I think almost every product that we use, even as consumers, if you're using Microsoft Word or if you're using a CRM, odds are you're probably already have experienced some AI components. Even back in the early days, if you remember, you type a search into Google, and I want to search, Mortgage Broker Pro. Before I finish my last word, it makes a suggestion, and that's AI behind that technology. So it's been around for a while. It's been accelerated immensely. Some of those tools are going to be game changers for the mortgage industry. We're going to look at some of those today. And our goal is ultimately for you to learn at least one tool that you can use starting today. All of these tools are publicly available, and you can use them right off the bat, right after this call, if you like. Hopefully not during the call, because then you're not listening to me, but do as you wish. All right, so if you're ready, I've chunked my my presentation into basically 3 different areas that I believe are most important for in the broker's business. The first one is called attract. So how do I get more business in? And I know, again, with all due respect, all businesses are different. So some are getting some of you are getting your business through referrals. Some of you are getting your business through other means, maybe repeat clients. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a different angle in terms of how you can get on social media, leverage some tools to create exciting content, create some exciting marketing, and generate some leads in that sense, generate business coming in. The next section is once the lead comes in, a lead's no good unless you can really make that meaningful connection and add value to your client. And we'll take a look at some tools to do that. And last but not least is tools that will help you automate your business. And this goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which is at some point you will not be able to scale. Hopefully, you'll reach that sooner rather than later, but you've got to find ways and systems to automate your business, to automate your marketing, to automate your back office, so that you can essentially unleash your earning potential. So attract, the first question is, how many of you have a website? And I'm sorry, I can't see anybody's video because of my screen share, but
everyone can just hit the hands up or the question button too. I know I've got.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, let me just jump windows here, see if I can see.
There you go. We've got
website. Awesome. We got a lot more people on the call, which is fantastic. Awesome.
So yeah, lots of people with websites there.
Yeah, so people have a website. Most people I find don't like their website. I know, we spent a lot of time and money on our website. As soon as it was out, I'm like, I'm not sure I like this one. And normally your process is you're going to have to hire a web designer, pay them a lot of money, go through the creative process, thousands of dollars later. And at least if you mimic my experience, you're still not going to like your website, or you might like it for a month. So one tool I suggest checking out, and there's lots of these, is something called Pineapple Builder. Very bizarre name. It's not by the company Pineapple that we know in the mortgage industry, but it's a separate company. And what Pineapple Builder does is essentially you can build any web page, landing page in literally a second. Costs like I think it's like $7 or $8 a month. They'll host it for you. Let me just see if I can maybe jump into a demo here, see if that works. So you guys can still see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah, we can.
Let's see if this works. It gave me a little bit of a hard time the last time. It's doing its thing. And as I mentioned, there's lots of different options here. So you'll see the AI is already, all I told it is I'm looking for a website for a mortgage broker, and I can edit my stuff. So it's called Mortgage Masters. Pretty creative name. It's already given me the little bio here, gave me the target audience. So you can see the AI is smart enough. I'm targeting first-time home buyers and real estate investors. Of course, if I want to change that, I can change that. I can have my unique selling points. I can choose my industry, and it's already pre-selected some of these things for me. And let's see if it actually creates the website for me. What's my tone and voice? What features do I want? So if I want a bot or anything payments, I can start. I can get those plugged right in. Now it's going to make me pay, so I may just go on the quick start and show you. See if it actually works in our favor. If it doesn't, then we can always come back to it. So everything I'm showing you is live. Some of this stuff is going to work. Some of it is just going to be an embarrassment, but no. So this one's not gonna work with us. But Pineapple Builder, if you want to pay the money, they work. I've created a couple websites there. So that's for the website. Pretty simple. The other one is anybody here have a podcast?
I
No?
don't know, but I know lots of brokers who do and who want to start one or whatnot. So
Yeah. So podcasts, it's funny. I just read somewhere like podcast is the fastest growing segment. And believe it or not, yes, it's audio. It seems old school and stuff like that. But I think from a marketing perspective, it's where you get your biggest bang for the buck. And reason being is when people listen to a podcast, they actually pay attention to the podcast, right? As opposed to even with social media, sometimes I think we all get caught scrolling through Instagram reels or TikTok, and it's called the 1 second attention economy. So it's very hard to capture attention versus podcasts. I'm in your ears, you're driving, you're stuck in traffic, you're in the gym, you're out for a walk, you're going to get attention, especially when you have good content to share. But one of the challenges with a podcast is, hey, I got to go buy, a couple $1,000s worth of equipment, and I got to buy, and then I got to think about what guests do I get. And I got to think about some of the logistics and recording and editing. It can be literally tens of thousands of dollars. Wondercraft is a really cool platform. I'll see if we can get a live demo here. Here we go. So Wondercraft essentially lets you make a podcast out of either writing your own script, or as you can see here, I can start a new project from my notes. I can use a blog, so it could be my own blog, it could be somebody else's blog. I can use the news. I can even make an ebook. And let's try something here. See if I can. I'm actually going to try to use maybe an existing project that I've used. It's called the Mortgage Minute. So all I gave it, I think if I look at the parameters, sorry about that. Let me just go into edit mode. There we go. So all I really did here was I gave it a little bit of a blog. This is based on a blog that we have on our website. Just pointed it to the blog, gave it a little bit of a parameter. And what it does is essentially, we'll see if we can press play here and generate. It'll create the script. It'll create the voice. You can clone your own voice should you choose. So it's a really, really cool and simplistic way to generate podcasts. You don't have to use your own voice with very, very little effort. All you need is some ideas for content. Again, like those blogs don't necessarily have to just be your blogs or your ideas. Sorry, it's not going to let me do anything. Looks like my subscription expired. I've got some limited credits. But nonetheless, it puts a voice on everything. We'll talk through it. You can tweak your tone, or you can ask the AI, for example, to make it shorter or longer, more professional, or more straightforward. So if I wanted to, for example, make this paragraph more confident, it'll literally rewrite the whole paragraph here. Will give me an opportunity to insert it. And again, like I've used it for some of our podcasts as well, and it's been huge. It's been a time saver. A lot of people have reached out, said that they've seen or sorry, they've heard the podcast. So that's called Wondercraft. Unfortunately, again, like I don't have the subscription active, so I will skip showing you anything meaningful in terms of a demo. Sumify is another one. Sumify is really good for when you want to create content, but you don't necessarily feel like sitting there and writing your own content. What it does essentially is it'll summarize any video. So I've got a YouTube video here. I'm going to go to Sumify. Let's go here. So I found a YouTube video that talks about a topic that clearly nobody cares about. It's called When Will Rates Drop? So it's a CBC podcast. Oh, there's my URL. And I'm going to click Sumify. Hopefully this one works. Gives me a little bit of a break here. And here you can see, like, literally in a second, it gives me the Coles notes. This isn't a transcript of the video, but you can see, you know, Bank of Canada maintains interest rates. Very obviously very pertinent topic for a day like today. And by the way, here's all my tweets. So everyone, you know, I've got 6 or 7 different tweets here. Here's little content that I can repurpose as a blog. Maybe if I'm deciding to do video or TikTok, these could be some of my talking points, and I can literally take this video that somebody else did and repackage it as my own. I'm not talking about plagiarizing. I'm talking about getting the key points, because at the end of the day, you will get the key points, but where you're really going to get some magic is when you put your own flavor and your own brand on it as well. So if you feel that it's a pertinent topic for you and your clients, it's a really, really easy way to get started and not sit there scratching your head for a couple hours thinking about what am I going to say, or how am I going to comment, or even have a conversation with my clients when they call. Now you've got all the Coles notes in there.
I'm going to jump in and just say it's fine. I've never heard of this Sumify IO, and I use lots of AI already. But as you guys can imagine, at My Broker Pro, I probably create, I don't know, like 100 templates at least a week, which is like all about content, blogs, newsletters, text messages, whatever it might be. And I actually, a lot of the time it comes from my brain. So the fact that I'll be able to use something like this will save me so much time, because I'm always like, what should I write about? And then that's how I usually come up with the idea. I'll research articles and stuff, but I've never used a tool like that. So that was cool.
Yeah. And I found another little life hack. I like, sometimes stuff comes up around the house that I need to fix, house or whatever. And like many people, YouTube is my resource for everything. But you know what's annoying about YouTube? You'll watch a 45-minute video, and the fix that you need is only there for like 10 seconds, right? So you kind of have to watch the whole damn video to get the fix. Well, now I can summarize it and find the fix. Having to spend 45 minutes watching something yapping on YouTube.
Can I ask, doesn't using all this AI like affect your ranking for, like, say, your website or whatnot on Google? Like, don't they look to see if you're using AI and then lower your ranking?
Yep. They do. They have different algorithms because they don't want people cheating the system. So you could theoretically, I mean, there's tools even that they use in schools now, right? Because you know, you've got students that are using like ChatGPT and others to plagiarize their homework and essays. So yeah, Google will penalize you, but we're not talking about, you know, using this like as a blog on your website. We're talking about using this as a baseline for ideas. Like, it's still always a good idea to write your own stuff, or maybe start with an AI version. Like what I'd do is I'd get, you know, a ChatGPT version, but it sounds like ChatGPT. I think, you know, most people can tell. And I'll add my own flavor. I'll add my own story. I'll add my own experience. You know, like Sarah said, you know, you research stuff and it's like, oh, I remember, you know, this article came up, and exactly grab and go. But it does save a ton of time, because now you're not sitting there with your little cursor blinking and thinking like, what is that damn first line that I should put, right?
And just to piggyback on that, because we write blogs, and of course I use AI to help me write them for me and my clients. And I've talked to other marketing companies who are like, when ChatGPT was like the buzzword last year, when it first kind of hit the ground, a lot of the marketing companies were like, no, we don't believe in this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I do. If I can write a blog in 15 seconds and it takes you what used to take me 4 hours to write a blog, I'm going to win every single time. Yeah. But the issue there is that, yes, you can tell ChatGPT wrote it. So of course, for those who've worked with me, we rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it and rewrite it. We change the tone. Like, it doesn't take me 15 seconds to finish the blog. It takes 15 seconds to write it, but then it probably still takes me an hour to add my stuff, like Reuven said, add a statistic. And then what we always encourage our clients to do is like adding your location, adding a client story. Like, you still want to make it more personable. But if you can get that 4-hour blog in 15 seconds and then refine it, that is just a game changer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. So moving on, I've got a few more tools, actually quite a few more, and we'll try to squeeze them in because I think the clock is running. But let's go back. So that was Sumify. Creatify is another one that I've come across. And what it lets you do is, and I know like a lot of us have certain anxiety about posting on social, right? Like doing TikToks and doing TikToks and doing, things like that are not necessarily easy to do. You got to produce them. You got to be comfortable with what you're doing. So Creatify is again like one of those platforms that you literally take a link. It could be a link to your website. It could be a link to a product. It could be a link to a blog. And here's what it creates. And I'll let you kind of watch it, and I'll let you in a little bit of a secret.
Ever had to
I don't think we can hear your side of the
No?
video, Reuben. No, I think that's what. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, no worries. But you saw the video, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the caption, so couple secrets. One is I didn't edit anything. I just literally gave it the link to the website, understood the script and what we do, and did not edit one thing. It was like literally created vanilla. The second secret is this lady or this girl right here does not exist. Does not exist. She's pure AI. And so you're able to pick different actors or actresses that literally, like if you look at her, movements and even body language, you can't really tell that it's AI, right? So yeah, so that's I want to say that's where things are going, but that's where things are at, right? So now you can literally create quality Instagram reels, TikToks, all sorts of stuff, literally in seconds by, with platforms like Creatify.
We use one too, and I'm not sure if it's on your list, but just because while we're on the marketing subject, is we use one called Deeded.io. So, and then they have a really great like AI text to video. So if you're with My Broker Pro, we send out 3 scripts a week for you to create your content. So that way you don't have to think about it. But what we do too sometimes is I'll throw the whole script in the text to video, and it'll do exactly what you said. It won't put the AI avatar, but it does have that option. But the text to video is more like the captions, emojis, the different backgrounds and stuff like that. But sometimes I'll use it as a starting point and then add our videos in it to like do the little talking head thing. But it's got some pretty cool features as well as like video editing. Cleaning up the audio is huge because most people don't use a proper mic when they're recording. So it has the cleaning the audio, it has cleaning the light, like all those AI features to like really amplify your video. So that's one I'd recommend too. The subscription's, great as well. So yeah, something to look up if you're looking Creatify. That's a similar one that I love.
Absolutely. Another one, and just for the sake of time, I'm not going to demo every tool, but if your preferred method is writing, and again, this isn't just marketing copy. There's some real great tools. There's one that I'm just working through at the moment, and I'll have in an upcoming newsletter. Is I think everyone can be a better writer, especially when you're a business professional. You get clients that are trying to communicate question or concern, and given that a lot of our communication is in writing these days, some of these writing assistants like Hyperwrite and others, there's a really cool one. A friend of mine has paragraph.ai that really helps you become a better writer and lets you change your tone on the fly and really adapt to things. are game changers, right? Because like, you know, sometimes it's the difference between winning or losing a deal is how you're able to connect with your clients using written communication. So check out HyperWrite, helps you with your blogs and all that stuff without having to be that chat GPT programmer or prompter. Because I think a lot of folks that I speak with really struggle with, you know, chat GPT is a great tool. Yes, it's free, but the output can be very, let's call it variable. It really depends, you know, what you put into it, how you train it and stuff like that. So with that, let's get into the next section. So you've got all these leads pouring in, and now you've got to connect with your clients. And one tool that I've been using for many years now is called Humantic. What Humantic does is essentially takes a look at anybody's social profile. It could be LinkedIn, it could be Twitter, whatnot, analyzes what they have wrote in the past, including their profile, their comments, and all that stuff. And it gives you essentially a disc profile. You know, if you haven't never done a disc profile, disc is like a personality test. So it tells you about this person in terms of like what are some of their traits, what is you know, how do you best engage, you know, writing an email to this person, you know, so if I'm writing an email to myself, it says avoid bullet points, and that's true. I don't, you know, I have this adverse reaction to emails with bullet points and stuff like that. What are the tone? What's the tone you should use? And of course, it gives you a pretty good analysis of the person if that's what you wish to know. And you could do it with, you know, on anybody that has a
I was just going to say, did you do this on me? And that's why we connected and spoke for an hour and a half?
well, you never accepted my connection. It's still pending.
Oh, okay. We're not friends yet.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, you see how quickly it came up on Sarah's profile, and again, I don't know you well enough, Sarah, but tells me this is, you know, 100% confident that you're a planner and fit well into a role that requires a methodical approach, and you have a high attention to detail, which probably makes sense in the business that you're in, but you tell me.
Hey, these are all good things. I like to learn about myself too, so it's good.
So, so again, the reason I share this with you is, obviously, you know, any secret sauce that you can get in connecting with people better. All of us have different personalities. All of us adapt and react to things differently, right? So, sure, some of you have had clients where, hey, you know what? I want to know all the details. I want an essay every time I have a question. And I'm sure you've got clients that are like, please do not write any more than 1 or 2 sentences because I'm going to murder you if you do that, right? Because they don't have the attention span. And you know, tools like this can really help you hone the communication, can provide a better experience, connect with your clients.
Well, at the end of the day, we're sales as well. So being able to understand your client or your business partner, like if you're looking up a realtor or something like that, like what better way to prepare yourself for a meeting or a presentation than to like truly understand what they're like and connect with them. Like that's sales 101 right there.
Oh, absolutely. And just out of curiosity, I think I'm going to go off on a tangent here because how many of you believe that you're a good salesperson? Be honest or decent.
I'm pretty good.
Anybody else?
Peter
Anita.
had his hand up.
Anita,
Yeah.
I know you're good.
They're all shy. They're not on camera. You can put the little hand up emoji if you want, or something like that too. Or we got a couple people who don't believe in their sales skill. We need to have a sales training call, it looks like.
Yeah. So I want to show you a tool I was just playing with last night. Okay, so bear with me for a second. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the audio, so let's see if we can make it work somehow. So this is called, can you see my screen? Sell me this pen.ai.
Yeah, I see it.
I was playing around with it. So it has a few features. So it'll sit and, sit on your calls and all that sort of stuff. But this is, I just gave it a scenario. You're calling Dave from your mortgage broker list and your agendas to gather some information. What this thing just beat me up, but let me go ahead and try to make a call. And if you let me know if you can hear the audio, hopefully.
Dave here.
Yeah, we can.
Hi, Dave. It's Reuven calling from Deeded. How are you?
Hey Reuben, I'm good, thanks. What can I do for you?
Dave, the reason for my call is we help brokers like yourself close deals a lot faster and more transparent. Clients just love the experience. And I was just curious if you had a couple minutes to spend with me talking about some of the experience and feedback that you've been receiving from your clients when it comes to their closing.
Look, Reuben, I appreciate you reaching out, but we really don't have budget for such solutions right now.
Hey, Dave, I understand that you don't have budget. I can assure you there's no cost to you. What I'd like to do is maybe get some feedback and understand what your clients think about their closing experience. Would you be open to spending a couple minutes?
I get that, Reuben, but honestly, it's not a priority for us at the moment.
I totally understand, Dave. Would client experience be a priority for you? I'm really scrambling here.
I still don't understand how your product can help me. Can you clarify that for me?
All right. Bye, Dave. All right. So are you guys still there?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So here's the cool part is it actually gives me a whole analysis. So in essence, how did you think I did? Pretty good? I thought I did awesome.
Yeah.
But the tool tells me I really suck 8%. So it would actually analyze everything that I went through. I didn't start the call properly. I didn't assess the relevancy. I mentioned some challenges, but not a lot. I didn't mention our value prop. I sucked at handling his objections, and I didn't set up a meeting.
That is so cool.
Right. So yeah, so this is if you think about, think you're good, if you think you're good in sales, this is like the ultimate coach, because I play around with it. I think that I did get a score of like 68% and did manage to book a meeting with the person. But it's amazing practice, especially if you are cold calling. I know, Sarah, you have a little bit of a program in a group about calling realtors and engaging, and that could be a very viable scenario to kind of practice, right?
That's really cool. Yeah, I like that. I picture it even for some of our clients who have sales people calling, right? Cold callers, or in the real estate world, like closers as well. They got a lot of people making cold calls, right? So that's what a cool tool. Thank you for that.
It is, and it does, as I mentioned. So that was the coaching thing, and does connect to your CRM and other calls. So every time you have a live call, it'll give you like a little kick in the butt type of report card of what you did right or wrong, and pointers on how to improve, right? So
yeah,
wow.
I know our read, if those who have AI in the meeting, right? I noticed maybe Kiki's or Christina has autopilot. I've got Read AI, and some people use there's a variation of a bunch of them, but I notice at the end of my meetings as well, it'll tell me kind of a score of the meeting, of engagement and empathy or whatever it is. And I use the word "hey guys" a lot. Didn't notice that, but apparently I say "hey guys" or blah blah blah, and then so it has inclusive terms, non-inclusive terms, and it allows you to really practice what that looks like. So I like this. Sell me this pen.com or .ai.
Yeah, sell me the pen, or what?
Because we got to be a salesperson first before we get those mortgages. So I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and again, I thought I was pretty good until this thing kicked me really hard. So I got some practice to do tonight. Awesome. So let's keep going.
Right on. That was
couple
cool.
more tools, and I think we're gonna stop and take questions or comments and things like that. Let's see.
Yeah, for sure.
If I can just share my screen again. So a couple more tools. I'm gonna again breeze through them. So video messaging. For those of you that are not familiar with email, it's okay, but I am, I wake up every morning and I have about 20, 30 spam emails. And then I have oh, did you see my last email, or just following up? And quite frankly, the engagement on email is dropping. The engagement on text is dropping because everybody's moved to text. The one thing that still works very, very well is video engagement. And what that involves is creating a short video. So I can, take my phone and say, hey, Peter, how's it going? Just, Bank of Canada announced today. How did you feel about it? Make it personalized. People see your face and they naturally want to click play. So they're gonna hear you out. So you're gonna have better conversion. You're gonna have more engagement. You're gonna have more clicks. The problem becomes is when you want to send multiple videos, and if you've got, say, a database of 2, 3, 4, 500 clients, it becomes very difficult because you're not going to sit there personalizing 500 videos. Like, it's in my mind, at least, that's impossible because you're going to, have different takes and all that stuff. So the last tool I'm going to show you today is called Try Maverick. I know our audio is not going to work on it, but what it does
It worked on the other one, so.
Yeah, no, I think I know why. Just give me 1 sec. I'll make it work.
I've got a couple tools to share after
For sure.
he's done too, and then we can open up some questions.
So, Maverick, or Try Maverick, lets you record a video once. You leave a little bit of a blank space where the client's name goes. And why name? Because it's proven time and time again, everybody loves and is infatuated with the sound of their name. That's why any sales training or any book will tell you, mention people's names as much as you can, because it allows you to build that bond and connection. People like hearing their name. So you're going to record a video, you're going to leave a blank name, and you're going to upload your database of people that you want to address. And this is what it's going to sound like. If your name is Teresa or your client's name is Teresa, it'll say,
Teresa, thank you for your purchase and congratulations for taking.
Or Jacqueline.
Jocelyn, thank you for your purchase and congratulations for taking this life-changing step towards better health. Casey, thank you for your purchase. And
right, you get the idea? So full personalization, little to no effort. You got a database of 500 people you want to reach out to with a personalized video. I can guarantee you your engagement is going to go through the roof. Like, people are not going to help but respond. So if I say, hey, Kiki, how's it going? Saw you in the kitchen today, right? And you're going to respond, right? You're gonna respond, this guy's an idiot, but you'll respond, right?
And just a question, do you have to sit there and record and be like, hey, Sarah, hey, Kiki, hey, Peter, or does it clone your voice and then it
clones your voice? Like,
you
hey, pause for 2 seconds, and then it'll clone your voice, clone your lips, and everything. So that's it, right?
That's cool. I like that.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have a lot more. I could be here for another 16 hours. Nobody wants to listen. Happy to take questions you might have or comments.
I'll jump in real quick and I jotted down a couple that I use. We already talked about the Deeded.ca. I obviously still use a lot of ChatGPT. I'm not going to share my screen. You guys can just look these up if you want to, so I can cruise through them. But ChatGPT, as you mentioned, needs a lot of prompting. You have to get really good at exactly giving it its, purpose and what the outcome's going to be, which, it's hard to perfect. I'm nowhere near that, but I still do use it in every day to day. I did add it as a Chrome extension, which has been very helpful in my Google Docs. So for example, like today, I am recording the call, which we'll eventually put on YouTube. I'll be able to use that link. I'll be able to create content in Deeded.ca with it. So there is a series. You do get used to like the flow of how you're going to use things. But if you notice, I also added transcripts to it. So it's keeping track of everything we're saying. And what's cool about that is as soon as it uploads to my Google Drive, because I have the Chrome extension for ChatGPT into my Google now, I put a $10 credit, which lasts a long time in ChatGPT. And then I just click one button. I say, please write me a blog about this, summarize this webinar that we had, and I'll give it a couple things on what to do and maybe talk about Reuven or whatever it may be. And in 2 seconds, it gives me the blog, and then I can adjust it. Like I mentioned, we add the video, the YouTube video, and it's just, what used to take me over a day to do is now taking me and my assistants maybe an hour. So again, like Reuven mentioned at the beginning, it's not about replacing you. It's about like being quicker and better and just doing more or doing less also, right? If you're like, hey, now it took me an hour and I get to go play with my kids or go for a walk or whatever, it doesn't have to always equate to dollars in sales, guys. It can be taking back your time as well. So just remember those things too. It's not always about money. The other thing is in our multi-tool, like the My Broker Pro, we haven't really done any webinars or training on it yet, but we have what's called, if you go into your accounts, there's under the settings, there's called a conversational AI. And that's for you to train your own chat bot. And it's super easy to do. If you literally put in like, how much do I need for a down payment? The bot will try to answer, and you just do, it has a little thumbs up and thumbs down emoji. You just pick which one you want if it gave you the wrong answer. And then you type in what the right answer is, and then you train it. So you can train it for as long or as little as you want. You can also put in a URL from a website that you trust, like Deeded.ca or something like that, for it to pull data from to start. But really cool to play with. And eventually, as we progress with that platform, we'll be able to include that as your chatbot on your website or with your clients or whatever it may be. But it does require some training, but on an easy level. And I think that was all yeah. Google just came out for those who are Google users. So you can see I have Read.ai joining the meeting. As I mentioned, others have different ones. But Google just came out with Gemini, which I'm thinking of changing or canceling my Read AI and going over to Gemini, because it does a lot more than just the meetings. It will like fix your emails for you. It will also get you to zero inbox every day. So like if you have, like myself, a bunch of spam emails and then multiple just things to look at, it'll give you a summary like, hey, Sarah, this is your summary for today. It'll talk to you, give you like, hey, today you have these meetings and you have this going on. And that way you can, get to that zero inbox every day, which is a nice feeling. And a bunch of other tools. So check that out. If you're a Google user, I haven't personally used it yet, so I can give you my feedback once I do, because I love Read AI. But I'm hoping that the Gemini will help me and my team with our processes and just making things easier, right? So Gemini for Google. And that's about it. Anybody else have any comments, questions for Reuven?
Where do you find the time, Reuven, to do all this research?
AI.
I'm trying to block out a day just to like breathe.
No, I to me, it's really about passion. Like a lot of this content is everywhere, to be honest. Like, there's some great YouTube channels on AI, automation, stuff like that. So some of these videos are, 5-6 minutes. Some of them are TikTok, and I just, I'm trying to find the applicability. Like I mentioned, Kiki, there's a lot of there's literally thousands or tens of thousands at this point, but not all of them are going to be applicable use cases for like our industry. Some of them are, they're toys, or they're like, came across one that was pretty freaky the other day that literally you won't have singers anymore. So you have, singers that, you can clone like Celine Dion's voice, create a track and change the pitch. And these guys have like composed the whole song from like and you cannot tell, like it's crisp, it's beautiful. I think many of you have seen, like stuff like Sora. So like even the way movies are made you have, these $10 million sets that, you see like blocking downtown with having to it's amazing what it takes to shoot like even a commercial. It's crazy, right? The amount of money and equipment. And now that you've got, AI, like it's going to be very, very hard to tell that it's not real people, it's actors. And obviously, you saw the capabilities even today. Sarah mentioned like the writing, the scripting, the AI is like the equivalent of someone that read like 1 million books, right? So you can't compete with that at a human level. Even the best Hollywood writers, like they're not that creative, right? So yeah, and I think
I had to check on something. There's got to be a conference for all these AI things, and so I just quickly put in AI conferences. There is conferences for all of these. Like, so you can go learn all of the new ones, what's hot, what's not. I happen to be in Alberta next in May, and there's one in Edmonton, May 21 to 24, called Upper Bound.
There's
And
even a website somewhere that like keeps track of all these new ones and kind of gives you reviews and stuff on them. But the one thing I was going to say, Kiki, and whoever else is on the call, is also like leading on industry leaders who are using these tools is important as well, because it is hard for you to keep up, especially if you're not super techie or you're focusing on different aspects of your business or your life. Reuven's proven to be really, techie with this AI stuff. So it is like obviously utilizing, and this isn't a sales pitch, but utilizing his sales services for even something like Deeded, you can trust that there will be processes in place that utilize some of these tools. It's the same with My Broker Pro or some of these people who are trying to help you with your business. You could let them be the AI experts and then lean on them for support on their services that way, rather than you being like, okay, I'm going to take a day and I'm going to figure out which one. Because like Reuven, I'm sure when he tests these, when I played with Veed.io, it took me 3 days to figure out how to do videos and how to do this, right? So sometimes it's not necessary doing it by yourself, that there are people out there that have tried something. So go on the ILMB Facebook page and has anybody used this before, and see if you can connect and go that way too.
that's super cool. Thanks for all the cool stuff.
It was really cool. Anybody else using something cool we didn't talk about? Peter's got his hand up. Hi, Peter.
Hi. I don't have something I want to talk about for what I'm using, but I'm curious about, I've listened to things, seminars like this or webinars so many times where someone says, I'm using this and I got to use the Chrome extension and I just save it into my Google Drive. Now, I'm a very organized person, but one thing that's not organized with me is my Google Drive. Personally, I think it's a disaster. So, like, is there any tips that, Reuven or Sarah, for, setting up your Google Drive, or whenever using this app or this app or this app, you're saving it to Google Drive, like for setting it up, or they're using Zapier, or like, I don't know. I just know that I use a lot of stuff too, and I know it gets saved somewhere, but it's not how I like things to be organized in my Google Drive, let me tell you.
Yeah. Peter, I gotta drop. I'm just late for the next call. I don't have a solution. I can reassure you that my Google Drive is messier than yours. If it's any help, like if it just helps you emotionally get over it, but I don't think anyone's got a messier drive than I do. And,
thanks for sharing everything you did. Then you're running away, Reuven.
My pleasure. Take care.
Feel free to drop off, and anybody else who wants to stay on can. I know, Peter, for myself, my Google Drive is not organized either, and it's actually on my bucket list. Not right now. It's going to be a 2025 goal, but I almost want to like scrap it and start over, have like an archive. And then what I've kind of learned recently, because I use Google for everything, as you've pretty much noticed, is I wait and see where it lands in my drive. So after this meeting's done, I was like, okay, I knew that it was automatically going to get uploaded to my drive. So as soon as we did it the first time, because I'm recording and the transcripts and I have the Read AI, all sorts of things, I was like, where is it going to go? And then once I figured out where it was going to go, we built our processes around that. Then I let Buddy, our admin, share the folder with him. Now he's organizing which ones have, right? So I think that's part of the process too, is like Google obviously has a mind of its own. So it's like, hey, where are you going to land? And then I'm going to build my folders and my automations around it. Like, for example, Buddy and I, we were just talking because he does all the editing after the webinars are done. And right now with your videos and some of the people doing the semi-custom plan, I'm like, do you get notified when they put a new video in? He goes, no. And so quick Google, yes, there's a notification setting. So we turned it on today. So, I mean, we're still learning every day too, right? But
it's like I got the workspace, Google Workspace, so that I'd have some functionality for a number of things.
Yeah.
And I created 2 accounts,